Oh, I forgot all our cams were still on after the thing. How professional of us. That's absolutely fine. We'll bring Sam and Skye just off for now for a second, but when they come back, we'll put them back on. We just took a 10-minute break, folks, and we'll be back with you Troika-ing in just a second. But basically, we're just taking... Sam is going to take a little bit longer because a dog needs walking, and I think we can all agree that is an absolutely noble purpose. We've got Skye again. So we're going to take the time. Sam will be back in just a couple of minutes. But first off, I guess what we'll do rather than move on without him is we'll just talk about Troika a bit and how we're finding it so far. Turning my light on. Yeah, you're right, Chris. Or John, rather, has said that. Blech. So bright. How's everyone finding Troika?
It's good. It's fun.
Yeah, it's easy to pick up, isn't it? You've got one thing you more or less have to roll against a lot of the time in terms of your general skills, and then beyond that, it's there's not a lot else in terms of strict. It's not crunchy, is it?
Oh no. God, no. It's actually completely based on advanced fighting fantasy. I know more people are probably familiar with just fighting fantasy, as in the fighting fantasy game books that everyone my age played when they were young, like with the green spines and roll your own adventure sort of thing. And advanced fighting fantasy was the tabletop RP version of that. It's also the first game I ever bought, the first role-playing game I ever bought, so it's got a lot of nostalgia factor for me. And we actually ran a series playing Advanced Fighting Fantasy on our old channel. We have an old channel. They mentioned the prequels. Found at the time that we had fun with it, but it was showing its age a lot mechanically.
Yeah.
But they've kind of slicked this up. I like that when you roll, you either hit or get hit. Look, it speeds the combat up so much. You're not just chipping away. That's fun.
I thought the initiative thing is a bit weird.
It is weird. I do like it though, but yeah, it is weird.
Yeah.
It breaks things up. Yeah.
Have we actually explained how the initiative order works?
Possibly
I guess we haven't. So basically what happens is you build like an initiative stack, and in it goes 2 entries for every player, and then every individual enemy and every individual henchman, and henchmen are people who work for the players in one capacity or another, also has a number of entries that they have. The owls have 3 because they're faster, like little nippy enemies, right? So essentially what happened there was we had a stack that had 6 player entries and 18 owl entries, which is why the owls went so much. And then they just get randomized. And in that stack also is an end of round entry. So the rounds are of random length and random order in which things happen. So it'd be perfectly reasonable, for example, to run like 5 rounds and never have a go of a particular player or whatever. It's that kind of level of random. So, yeah.
I guess that's kind of balanced because when you get attacked, you kind of get a go anyway.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So you can bring players in that way. So it's absolutely fine. Yeah.
So that's what happened in the owl fight, wasn't it? I don't think Marisette really had their own turn.
No.
It was a reaction to an owl bearing down on the claws first.
It was just a reaction to an owl, yeah. It was Owlverwatch.
No, absolutely despicable.
No.
Right, well, this was a good stream.
Thanks for joining, everyone. Like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that owl button.
Smash that owl. Yeah.
Smash that owl.
Dice that owl.
Yeah, Her Majesty certainly diced that owl. Yeah.
There were owl puns.
Yeah.
That's a weird euphemism.
One thing I am interested in for people who have played a bit more odd off-kilter D&D, does this feel any different in any way? Does the approach of the setting or doing it feel any different from your odd D&D campaigns where you play I don't know, demigods with the heads of horses or whatever?
I think it's hard to tell. because setting-wise, I've definitely had a GM that would have this just as a random encounter. Probably. Mechanically, I mean, yeah, because you're rolling against, if you're very lucky, one of your skills, but usually just a set number. So you tend to be pretty bad at everything apart from what you're good at.
Yeah.
For me, that's climbing. I'll just be climbing up things for the rest of the.
And your character.
For me, it's apparently longsword fighting and bribing mandrels.
Hey,
bribing apes with silver pieces. That's your speciality.
Yep.
Hey, it's got a lot of applications in this one story.
In the lift.
Yeah, I suspect we're going to see that mandrel a few times, probably.
Don't know where you're getting that from. Yeah. I like it so far. I definitely like Troika so far. I guess I was kind of skeptical because of how based it was in that old Advanced Fighting Fantasy, you know? I think we've got a Skye again. Have we got a Skye again? Let's find out. Hello, we've got a Skye again. Can you hear us this time, Skye? Excellent.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Yeah, my headset is just...
It's just wonky. Just wonky. You rolled badly briefly on the wonky headset table, which is possibly an entry in Troika. Yeah, and it looks like we're about to have a Sam back now as well. So we will be cracking on any moment, folks. Any moment. He's taking his coat off. I'm going to give you live updates. I can see it. Sam's taking his coat off. He's folding it gently. No, he's just putting it on the floor or something. Looks like he may be drying the dog with his jacket. That is a possibility that is what's happening. He's now hanging up the jacket.
Oh God!
Presumably covered in dog water.
Probably covered in dog water, yes.
He's now sitting down off screen for a bit of a rest.
Just going to have a bit of a read. Read maybe a
I hope
bath.
you're all enjoying this content.
This is live updates of Sam's cam, which we can see and you cannot. And
May have fallen asleep.
He may have fallen asleep.
Oh, movement.
This is someone who once before has been 3 hours late for a recording session because he was doing the washing up. So
I'm now understanding the appeal of the Truman Show, as in not the movie, as in the show, the Truman Show.
I don't know. I think that's extreme. I think this is more Gogglebox than Truman Show. He's back in 1 minute. He says he'll be back in 1 minute.
I mean, it's lies. We can clearly see him.
He's wandered off camera, so that's fine. Yeah, might as well use this time to plug other stuff, right? So we've got a bunch of links down below, folks. We'll be back on with Troika in a minute or so, but look below in our About section or in the video description if you're on YouTube for our Twitch, our YouTube, our Discord to go talk stuff with us, hopefully about role-playing. We have a Patreon if you want to support us more. If you want even more insights into what Sam is doing before he sits down in front of the camera, then maybe our Patreon is the way to go. We've also got a bunch of social media. We've got Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, and that's actually it. But based on whatever of those you choose, I mean, they're all awful, but have a look at them anyway. I mean the concepts, not our specific accounts. Telling Tales RP is what we are in most places, so check those out. We've got 2 weekly series, one for Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition and one for Simbaroom. They both run at 8 o'clock GMT on Tuesday and Wednesday nights, respectively. There we go. Oh, and we've got a bunch of VODs from our first one-shot, which is Alien from Free League, and it was a lot of fun, but quite different to Troika. And we've got those over on our YouTube at the moment. So there we go. Oh, yes. And as Chris has pointed out, we have a Simbaroom roundtable on Thursday this week. So tune in at the usual time. That's 8 o'clock GMT in the evening. And we'll be talking about what we think about Simbaroom, which is an excellent system from Free League. Spoilers. Maybe we're going to insult it relentlessly, but no. Yeah, and it looks like we've got a Sam. He's sat down. He's smoothing his hair out. He's put on his headphones, and now he's back. There we are. There's Sam.
Was I being commentated for that whole period?
Pretty much, yeah. That's what we were doing. So let's pick up Troika. Let's pick up and go again. So ahead of you, you're making your way upwards slowly towards your room through the Blancmange Thistle Hotel. And ahead of you is a floor as you get out of the lift. And it's covered in water, pools, puddles, floating sponges, and a sign saying cleaning underway. Please forgive us for any inconvenience caused in a jaunty script. What you gonna do to get to that stairwell at the other end?
Walk.
Muted.
You're just on mute, Skye, sorry.
Lark Lenoir has just tested his luck and succeeded. And he now is pulling out of his suitcase a snazzy rain gear ensemble.
Kind
So
of like
he's got
foot things you can put over your
and he's
feet.
got little fussy little rain shoe covers and the whole shebang.
Absolutely. I think
And
that's
he turns to the others and goes, "This is a very expensive suit." If
just for other people's inclination, by the way, the testing your luck thing isn't just generally to see if you have anything. That is specifically for Sam's character, but I do feel it's perfectly appropriate that Lark Lenoir would have preventative rain gear in his stuff. No, it's a thaumaturge thing, right, Sam? Of your specific thing.
Yeah.
But
Any...
I think it's perfectly allowable for everyone if they have an explanation of why they would have that thing. And I think Lark definitely has an explanation for why he would not.
So I can keep my luck as it is, then I don't have to put it down.
Oh no,
Wonderful.
no. Still, if you tested your luck and you succeeded, still knock it down. Yeah, you basically have what Krongle does, but only for very appropriate things to your specific character.
Yeah.
Whereas Krongle could have anything in the far reaches of his jacket. Oh my word, we've just fed you. Good Lord. Been good as gold all week. And now this. So, how is anyone else making preparations for crossing what looks like, honestly, quite frigid water?
I will take off my nice pointed shoes because I don't want to ruin them.
That's an appropriate reaction. Anyone else with anything, or are we just kind of trying to leap or stumble our way through these pools of water?
How deep and widespread is this water? Like from the
It runs like I'd say the corridor is quite long, and it's definitely takes up about the middle third of the corridor. It's a considerable little carpet swamp.
Wow.
I think I'd just walk into and through it.
So I think that's perfectly reasonable. So basically, anyone who just wants to walk through the water can absolutely do so. Anyone who wants to avoid the water is going to have to test their luck to do so. So anyone who wants to kind of avoid the water needs to test their luck to get through and do so. I'm going to say that Lark Lenoir, with the advantage of these preventative water coverings, is going to have to test his luck, but with a plus 3 on the roll. +3, -3? -3. Yes, because you want to roll lower, right?
Is there any chance I could cast a spell for protecting against water, or is that just something else I do afterwards?
I believe you have protection from rain,
but rain.
Really, I think you need a protection from puddles spell for this. So I'm going to say no, but you can test your luck and you can -3 off the result, so to give you a better chance of avoiding this water. I believe we said that Oslab is just walking through it. Is anyone else just walking through and not caring about getting themselves wet?
I'm not caring about getting wet, but I am going poking the space before me with the longsword to make sure that it doesn't suddenly dip, because I've walked through swampy forests before, and you don't want to fall off a...
Absolutely, but otherwise you're just walking through.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Carrick, how about you?
So if there's the opportunity to sort of leap from object to object, or hang from chandeliers and whatnot, I might try that.
Absolutely. In that case, rather than a test your luck roll, you can go ahead and give a climb roll.
Okay.
I think that's fine. It's done you well so far. Meristet, how about you?
How deep did we say? Like, if I've just got shoes on, it's not going to like completely soak my shoes, is it? Or
it'll soak your shoes, yeah. But you're not wading in it up to your knees or anything. But your shoes will certainly get wet.
I'll take my socks and shoes off and just roll the bottom of my trousers up then.
All right. So no testing of luck or anything like that. Just being practical.
Yeah, it's just water,
Krongle, how about you?
I was planning on following behind Oslab to make sure there's no hidden depths, but before I step in the water with my bare, sensitive toes, I want to just give it a sniff and maybe like a poke to check it's not stingy or got anything unpleasant in it.
Okay, well, I believe we established earlier your sniffing fluids advanced skill that you did fail on, but you get another chance now to roll against it. So give me that roll.
That failed again. It's not my time for sniffing fluids.
It's clearly sniffing fluids is not your natural talented aptitude. So in that case, all we have to roll, I guess, Carrick is rolling for climb, and Lark is rolling against his test for luck. So Sam was removed. So
Yep.
There we go.
And I have passed.
Excellent. So with that pass again, reduced your luck by 1. Carrick, how did that climb go?
I succeeded. I rolled 6, which is under my climb skill of 8. So
wonderful. Everyone else who has made contact with the water without attempting, is just wading through the water. Can everyone else give me a D6 roll, please? And let's go through them one by one. Let's start with John.
Sorry, that was a
D6 roll.
D6.
A D6 roll, sorry, John.
I rolled 3.
Okay. Queen, are you okay there, John?
Yes, there's just a small creature attacking things.
Is
in
it
my
a
You
room.
need
monkey?
to go off somewhere.
One of them.
No, I'm fine. He's left now.
Okay. Your Majesty, you're definitely overcome with a sense of hopelessness, and you definitely feel like sitting down in this water and refusing to move on account of your life being over, figuratively speaking.
I mean, that seems fair enough.
Okay.
Strong word.
So who's next? Oslab.
I got a 6.
Okay. Oslab, you are overcome with a sudden sense of tremendous hunger. You only really register how hungry you are when all your provisions are gone. And immediately start eyeing up the provisions of your companions, who surely don't need them. They are, after all, such small little things. Sam, what did you roll?
1.
Okay. Krongle Pludgefunkler is now laying down in the water and moaning piteously in misery.
Okay, that sounds about right.
Face down.
Yes. Meriset,
Oh god.
what did you roll? You rolled a 4. Always a good result on a table. Ennui. So you're going to continue as normal, but with less enthusiasm.
Oh, that's okay.
Lose 1d6 skill until someone snaps you out of it. So
Okay.
if you
I got a
lose your
3.
1d6, there we go.
If I rolled a 6, then I'd have just been gone, like unable to do anything.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? So I think it's fair to say that the people who are making the most progress in this are Carrick and Lark, who are kind of moving ahead. Carrick, you're kind of scampering along this roof and like swinging from chandeliers and leaping off nearby furnishings and stuff like that. Lark, on the other hand, you're making good progress. You're managing to keep yourself pleasingly dry, which is obviously reassuring for any number of reasons. And as you do so,
really.
you walk past one kind of open door that that's basically you take a look in and see some kind of mechanical devices bubbling over inside of there with lots of water kind of pouring down and kind of causing these big puddles on the floor. On the door, in again a jaunty kind of script, it says, warning, demonic spa, please do not approach. Yeah, the others can obviously, perhaps some of them need to be persuaded to make their way out of the current situation.
Have we noticed that they're just laying down?
I think now that you've come to a stop and noticed this sign, yes, you can see the Queen sat on the floor, Krongle laying face down in the puddle of demonic spa water, etc.
I think I will knock loudly on the door.
Sure. To kind of alert them, or...
No, it says a demonic spa, so I thought maybe the demons wouldn't mind turning off the water while my friends move
Sure,
on.
the room does appear to be empty, but...
Okay. In that case... I might call to Carrick and go, Carrick, you seem to be faring quite well. I believe there is something mysterious in this water. Perhaps you'd like to go and give our young friends over there a good poke or a slap or something just to bring them around.
Okay.
I may use my cane if you wish.
I'm not used to canes.
Oh, they're very easy to use, believe me.
So the others are back down the other end of the corridor.
They seem to be lying down in the water.
At various points
that one over there
you,
is face down, I believe.
Yeah, Krongle is face down. Her Majesty is just sat slumped against a wall. Merisette is carrying on forward, but with them kind of...
I'm now rather like frantically gesturing my cane at you, like, go! What are you waiting for?
Well, then I will traverse back across and try and
Sure.
Fish one out. I'm not sure.
If you, why don't you give me another climbing roll as you do so? Presumably, Krongle and the Queen are definitely the ones who need the most attention. Merisette's making his way forward, just not happily, and kind of has a downward cast, more water, sort of vibe to it. Why don't you give me another climb roll and see whether you manage to get back to Krongle and give him a tapping with the cane.
That was a double one, so that is a success.
You know what? I'll count that for both of them then. So you poke Krongle in the back of the head with the cane while dangling off a chandelier, and
so
Krongle
throw a monkey at the other one. And...
Yeah, Krongle gives a kind of acknowledging, and just slowly climbs upwards and out. The monkey hits the Queen square in the face. And chatters and thrashes at her enough with his paws and tail to rouse her to her feet. And they all start moving forwards. Oslab, can you give me a scavenging provisions skill roll, please?
Yes.
Which I'm imagining is just your skill.
Wait, what's my skill? I think I make it.
Oh, good. In that case, you can take a tick on scavenging provisions, so in future that can be, And 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, Krongle, lose all your provisions.
Am I aware what's going on?
No, you're too lost in your... what did we determine yours was? Misery?
One, whatever that was.
Yeah, misery. You're too lost in your misery to notice that Oslab is looking very satisfied, and his beard is full of crumbs of whatever your provisions were made of.
The one thing I'm confused by is how he managed to find the provisions in my voluminous jacket.
Did those provisions include the bonbons?
Probably. And the mints.
Ooh, I think it will have included the bonbons and
all
the mints.
4 of them.
The mints were just perfectly satisfactory mints as far as you're concerned, Oslab. But the blue bonbons themselves, I feel like obviously you're a creature of various different body parts, and I feel like we should roll to determine which kind of thing has maybe swollen beyond all control. So let's say, human head, or Lamassu head, as you've pointed out, Lamassu forepaws, Lamassu body, or Lamassu wings. That would be your Lamassu body. Oslab is now occupying most of the corridor with his body, which is sort of like wildly ballooning backwards and forwards, and is sort of slumping side to side, presumably with a wail of some distress.
As much as I can, I will turn to look at Krungle like, what did you have in your provisions?
I'm still just like mournful of everything, and you've just said that you've eaten my provisions, maybe even more mournful.
Do I regain stamina having eaten these provisions?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, you know what? Just go back up to full stamina. I think you can safely say that.
Nice.
After you've crammed yourself full of your provisions and Krongle's. I think that's absolutely fine. So Oslab, I think this odd like ballooning mass of yours can safely snap you out of the demonic spa water effect, so you're no longer hungry.
Nice.
Krongle, after your initial misery at your provisions being taken away, also the sight of Oslab is enough to shock you out of that. And you know what? I'm just going to go with the same for everyone. A ballooning Lamassu is no small thing, literally. And I think we're safe to say that the effects of this water are behind you. Presumably, Lark is now stripping himself of like various.
Yes, he's
wet
giving
gear.
Carrick a rather pointed look as well.
Assuming I'm now possibly too ballooned to walk comfortably, I'll try and like scoot myself along by pushing my wings against the ceiling of this room, just trying to slide through this water.
Absolutely.
Presumably with all of us along with you pressed on the walls.
Yeah.
So great.
I think I was like splashing through the water, holding the monkey that was thrown at me by the scruff of the neck, just sort of lamenting to myself, there's no point, I'm never going to get home, I might as well just marry this monkey. You might be the king of monkeys, it doesn't matter. And then as soon as I leave the water, it's like, wait, why would I marry a monkey? Get it for you.
The monkey looked quite hopeful for a short period of time and is now scampering back to Carrick with a downcast look on its face. By the time you get to the stairwell at the other end of the corridor, Oslab, you have returned to your usual size, although it does take you all a bit longer to make your way forwards because you're constantly being jostled against the walls by this oddly bloated Lamassu. So you reach the stairwell at the end. It's similar to the stairwell below, that white and orange marble landings with the like wrought spiral staircases. This also has an engraving on the wall, a large artful engraving. It is titled "The Exchange of Mathas," and in it, two beak-faced figures in robes and pointed hats exchange huge serrated keys while shaking hands. Behind each of them hovers a horde of confused-looking angels. And in this stairwell, there are 6 children. They are drawing on the walls in glittery crayon, in what seem to be very odd sweeping patterns and lines.
I immediately turn to Carrick and point to the cane which he is still holding and go, "My cane, please, good sir."
I'm sorry, I'll hand it back.
Thank you very much. Thank you for helping me back then.
It's quite
You
all
did a
right.
very good job. It was quite impressive.
Is anyone going to... Sorry, you go ahead.
I was my initial inclination would be to ignore the children as they're noisome and tiresome and pointless. But I am going to look at what they're drawing and perhaps unknowingly try my second sight.
Oh, second sight given to you by the purple bonbon. So cool. Why don't you roll second sight for me? Or it's a level of 1, so it'll be 1 above your skill.
Okay. I fail.
Okay. Yeah, you've got no idea what they're scrawling on the wall in their odd glittery crayons. Is anyone else going to pay attention to them? They're certainly not paying attention to you. They're quite contentedly just drawing to themselves.
I think I might step forward and sort of look at them and go, what an interesting colour. Wonder what pigment they use for those. And sort of like stroll over.
Sure. Why don't you give me a skill roll? See if you can recognize anything about these crayons or what they're scrolling.
I got exactly on it.
Exactly on it. You're fairly sure with your background of occult matters, very specific occult matters in certain circumstances, but the less said about that, the better. You're fairly sure they're scrawling a spell on the wall, L'Arc Lenoir, and you're fairly sure that you can learn it. If you want, you can learn this spell that they put on the wall, and if you do so, you may note down the spell Shatter among your skills, and it will just be at the level of your current skill.
Okay, that sounds great.
The instant that Lark takes a closer look and kind of makes understanding noises, the glittery crayon scrawl kind of fades away off the wall. The children look up at you sulkily and disappointed, and stalk out back into the hotel and open a doorway and walk in.
What's my rank? How do I know what that is?
Your rank in it will be 0.
Okay,
so just put 0 there, and it'll just be the same as you. That should make it the same as your just skill level.
Got it.
Are we going up the stairwell and onwards? Or
did the children take their crayons?
They did take their crayons. They took their crayons and went home.
Oh.
Well, before we set off up the stairs, I will be eating some more provisions, because I'm in still quite a bad way.
Sure. Give that D6 a roll. Feel free to add to your
rubbish. They weren't very nice provisions.
No. Well, they were mainly for monkeys.
I might turn to Carrick and go, you still look in a bad way.
Yeah, I've been better, certainly.
And I'll turn to Krongle and go, Krongle, you seem to have some rather good spell work back there that you used on Her Majesty. Surely a little healing spell wouldn't be too hard.
I wish I could offer something of help. Sadly, healing has never quite been within my grasp. Yeah, I would give him some of my provisions, but sadly Oslab here scoffed them all.
Yes, something like a healing spell sounds altogether too helpful for you, doesn't it?
Inter-party conflict.
That's a shame, because I was going to allow you the privilege of showing off your wonderful skills, but as you can't, I will do it myself. And I'll turn to Carrick and go, right, I will attempt a healing spell on you.
Yeah, you do have healing. Yeah.
Yes. I must say I'm really a beginner in the matter, but I think I could do you up quite well.
Well, I think
what do you say?
I don't want to gainsay you, Skye, but I think, and it's probably not clear on the sheet, I think your healing isn't actually a spell. I think it is just patching people up physically, almost as if you're used to building bits of humans back together.
Well, in that case, I will say I'm rather good at patching people back together.
Well, I could certainly do with some assistance if that would be lovely. Thank you.
Do I don't have any like needles or anything in my inventory.
I think we can safely say that you have a sewing kit.
I had a feeling. Okay, I'll Beckett Carrick over and like hold up a gleaming needle and a sort of queasy, over-enthusiastic grin, like. Sure.
I think so. In the skill description, it doesn't kind of say like that you specifically heal back. I think it's mainly used for stabilizing dying people and stuff like that. But it seems silly to not have something like that. But let's not make it more potent than the existing roll. So, sorry, did you make the healing roll?
No, I haven't made it yet. I wanted to check if it was okay first.
Yeah. I would certainly, yes.
So that's just 2d6.
Mm-hmm. Try and get equal to or under your healing.
What is my healing? So
Just 7 roll, look at it.
I did not make it.
Yeah, I mean,
Ow.
you've definitely attached bits on before, but this isn't anything quite so simple as that. You know, there are scratches, there are wheels, there are. It's just, I mean, this stuff is.
I sort of look at the extent of it, not realizing, and become like quite flustered. Like, oh goodness, it's worse than I thought.
I mean, honestly, skin like this should probably just be thrown away.
I'll go. Well, here, have some of my provisions, and I give you 2 of my provisions, and quickly put the needle and sewing kit back away with some embarrassment.
Well, thank you. I'll I shall eat another set of provisions then. And oh, that's better. 6. Your provisions are wonderful. Thank you so much. Much better. Than
Yes, I make them myself.
I would note that the daily limit on provisions is 3. So
yeah,
if you've
I'm
eaten
at it.
3 already,
I know.
then you're at
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Cool. So you're up to the next floor. I would say it's worth noting, incidentally, that as you made your way through the demonic spa water, the plaque on the wall did say 2nd floor. So clearly, they're not just all the 1st floor. And now you're on this one. The plaque says 2nd floor, the 2nd. It's a mostly normal corridor, but ahead of you there is a door kind of swinging wildly open, and you can hear quite the ruckus coming from inside.
After you, I say to no one in particular.
Lark steps forward boldly. Why, thank you.
So Lark and anyone else who wants to move up and move either to or past this door. Inside, you see a very large, like a kind of almost like a church hall or a small concert hall area inside, which doesn't seem to jibe particularly with the physics of the Blancmange Thistle, but plenty of unexpected happenings have happened so far anyway. Inside, you appear to see what is a wedding, or at least the remnants of a wedding. There are a couple of dozen wedding guests scattered among overturned tables, unpleasantly mulched provisions and cakes, and they're scattering away from an extremely large, a giant man in a sort of the shredded remains of a groom's outfit, who is laying around himself wildly with what at first appears to be a club, and then a moment later you realize is perhaps the priest who is officiating this ceremony. A cry rings out from the back of the hall in some desperation. "Flee! Reginald has had too many aperitifs again!"
I turn and I glance and I go, my late stepmother's wedding went rather along that line. I turn to the others and go, I do find that it's best not to pry into family matters.
That sounds very sensible, though.
Inside, the wedding guests are attempting to barricade, and a few of them appear to be forming a shield wall.
They seem to have this handled, I think.
Yeah.
Now hold on. Everyone, weddings are a valuable ceremony.
No!
And marriage is a very important function of... Look, there might be someone important.
I just turn to the character and just go, oh, if you're so worried, just send the monkeys in there. I'm sure they'll sort it out.
I'm not sure my monkeys have had much experience of... I don't think they've been to a wedding.
Well, I find that most people at weddings are monkeys, so...
Well, weddings are also one of the best places to find... People always want to get married at weddings.
Oh God, he's gone into the
You think the people in there want to get married?
Well, they might if we save them.
Unpleasant things are happening.
Does anybody else wish to be married at this exact moment to somebody in that wedding party?
Well, potentially. It depends who's there. And if they're dead,
Anybody
you can't
else?
marry them.
Well, you
Anybody else?
Unsheathe the longsword.
can go ask around, Your Majesty.
I will do so.
Bring him down!
I think a bit of cake comes flying out of the door and just step to one side.
I will pocket the cake. So, did you go in?
I am going to run in with my longsword hefted, and I really hope someone is going to follow me, but it doesn't seem like it, particularly.
Yeah.
Is anybody
will
going to
it.
follow?
Not to leave you in there with a on your own with a cave troll or something from the sounds of it.
I turn to Oslab and go, there are plenty of eligible young men in this group who could have offered to marry her at this moment, and we would not have had to deal with this.
Your Majesty, you dash into the chamber. Ahead of you, as your argument with the others has gone on, events have changed somewhat. Reginald appears to have been bound down to the floor and is kind of like dozing gently with several large bruises on his head. Atop of his body stands a large, strapping young woman wielding a kind of large, double-handed maul, holding it aloft, saying, "I have slain Reginald, or at least knocked him out." And the priest is kind of recovering, clambering to his feet and saying, "In these circumstances, I believe it is traditional for the slayer of the giant to marry the best man." The best man says, "Yes, please, marry me." The ceremony is going ahead. I think you were a little too late.
Yeah. Oh, well. I don't even know who the best man was, so...
Well, they're wearing a crown.
Oh, God. Damn it. Right. I sheath my longsword and walk out sadly.
I go, "Oh, Your Majesty, remember to bring Krongle some cake. He's so fond of sweet things."
I'll randomly swipe at the dessert table as I pass.
Look, the moral of this story is don't wait on a wedding giant. You got to throw yourselves in there.
While we're walking out, I'm going to grab a glass that's probably broken and doesn't have any drinks in it, but lift it in the air and go, "A toast to the bride and groom."
I suppose I could wait until they throw the bouquet.
Are you sure it's the bouquet they'll be throwing?
At the end of the corridor that you're on is the lift. The lift is open. The mandrill in his little red suit is inside, and he's tapping his foot.
I put the gas mask on and go into the lift.
This time, I wait until everybody else has gone in, and the doors are beginning to close. And I'm now suspiciously looking around for anybody who might want to enter the elevator after.
Jump in at the last minute. There doesn't seem to be anyone.
Okay, as the doors are about to close, I slip through them and stand like this in front of them, like
daring anyone else to come through. And you know what, Lark? No one does.
I remove another silver pence from my pocket and just sort of buff it against my sleeve a bit and say to the mandrill, "It would be awfully handy if you were to take us straight to the 6th floor. 6th. Above the 5th.
The mandrill goes,
I'm now confused as to whether we're haggling or trying to figure out which one the 6th floor is.
You're not the moral of this story is you're not entirely sure how much of a grasp this ape has on mathematics.
I'm jangling my bells a little just to be slightly annoying at this moment between thinking.
The ape shrugs and triggers one of his odd mechanisms in a little cabinet to the side of the lift. The doors close, there's that odd hum again, and the lift starts going up. Once you're some of the way up, but not all of you the way up, the lift starts to come up to an alcove set in the wall of the lift shaft. In that alcove is what appears to be a small shop with all manner of snacks and toiletries pinned to the wall, and behind the counter sits a shopkeeper. This wall merchant is egg-shaped, with tiny arms barely long enough to reach the top shelves. You cannot see his legs, but assume they are equally small. His mouth is alarmingly big, making the aggressive sales pitches he immediately starts in with even more frightening. Part of the kind of framework of the lift slides aside, so he's got like a little way in to lean in and start barking his products towards you. And as he does so, he throws the mandrill a small bag of rotten passion fruits, which it starts shoveling into its mouth. That seems to temporarily distract it from its duties, like making the lift move again. Is anyone going to listen to the sales pitches of the merchant? Or, there's a number of wonderful goods that he has for sale.
Yeah, what's he selling?
Yeah, go on then.
Sure. Well, you could have a pair of ruby lorgnettes, he said, realizing he should have looked up what lorgnettes are in the context of... Why doesn't someone do that for me? Does someone do a Control F on LORGNETTES? Lorgnettes in the books, and see what that actually means. He definitely has a selection of stuffed owls. They are very lifelike, soft, and posable. A tray of pocket gods, if anyone wants those. A single tin of jellied prunes. A pail of goose grease, and some smelling salts.
So that's what a god is. How much?
Just information from Chris. Ruby lorgnettes are collapsible spectacles made with ruby lenses that require a free hand to use. While wearing them, your sight is impaired, but you can see sorcerous activity clearly, giving you +2 second sight. The war merchant squints at Queen Katrine with the little tray of pocket gods and says, "Only 5 silver pieces each. It's a bargain. A bargain!"
I'm not sure. 5 silver pieces sounds quite high for an impulse religion buy.
You never know when you'll need a god in your pocket.
4 silver pieces.
Why don't you give an etiquette roll? They're certainly a lot smaller than the gods you're used to, and to be fair, the gods you're used to do not appear to be small and carved of wood.
I succeed.
He looks very dissatisfied with this and says, "Fine, 4."
I will exchange 4 silver pieces for a pocket god.
Small pocket god. A less charitable commentator on the state of your pocket god would say that it looks awfully like a small carved wooden raccoon. But who are you to say? The mandrill is kind of coming to the end of his bag of rotten passion fruits, and as he does so, the war merchant eyes the rest of you greedily and throws the mandrill in another bag.
I roll my eyes and go, "Does anybody else wish to buy something?"
I'm kind of perusing the goods and chuckling at Oslab. Any provisions?
The war merchant pushes forward the single tin of jellied prunes, and for that matter, also the pail of goose grease.
Is that 2 provisions then?
No, they are very much their own thing. I mean, you could probably try eating the jelly prune. I mean, you can try eating anything, but jelly prunes is a thing.
I think I'd like some jellied prunes. I might have the jellied prunes and the smelling salts, given the bathwater did not go so well for me earlier.
Sure. He indicates that the jelly prunes are worth 2 silver pieces, and that the smelling salts are 3 per vial.
Okay. As this is happening, I look at everyone else and goes, "Does anybody else wish to buy something? Say your piece now." No?
I might buy an owl, just as a memento.
Well, hurry up before he gives that damn ape another bag of prunes. I fear will be here.
Well,
Ours-
Krungle, I believe that's 5 silver pieces from you then for your tin of jelly, prunes, and smelling salts.
Can I?
And Carrick,
I will barter with the gas mask.
Oh, you want to trade the gas mask?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, give me a skill roll to see how well you come out of that.
I'm doing a sell. Look at this fine angle.
Yeah, this fine
very
gas
close.
mask.
Yeah. Oh, I succeed.
Okay. Then add yourself a bartering advanced skill, which may be part of the game, I don't know, but we could do that. And you know what? He's going to give you 2 silver pieces out of that entire exchange.
Yeah.
So you come away 2 silver pieces richer, and also jellied prunes and smelling salts richer.
I'm making money in this game.
Steve, that if you want a stuffed owl, he says, with throwing another bag of rotten passion fruits to the mandrill, 6 silver pieces.
6 silver.
These are quality stuffed owls.
I will hand over 6 silver pieces. Slightly unhappily, but
Sure.
got to have something out of this trip, right?
Absolutely. Is anyone else engaging the war merchant? The war merchant is kind of definitely eyeing Lark and Oslab and Meriset a little bit, but seems at least somewhat mollified now. Are any of the 3 of you going to make any more gestures towards buying anything off this odd
No, I'm
individual?
pretty skint. No, I'm all good.
Okay. In that case, the war merchant kind of tidies away his wares. The mandrill looks up hopefully at him, and he kind of looks down at him with a fond expression and slams some big brass shutters down in front of his little alcove shop. The mandrill mournfully closes the shutters on the lift side to it, fixes you all with a glare that makes it clear he definitely blames you for this reduction in passion fruits, and presses the button again. The lift judders upwards to the next floor, and the doors open. Ahead of you is another hotel corridor. It will come as a surprise to no one. The plaque on it reads 3rd floor, and it's mostly empty apart from a bit further down by the kind of sort of towards the end of the stairwell, where you can see that appears to be a kind of like a little pit in the floor or hole, and you can see 3 goblins kind of poking their heads up out of it, having an argument with someone who's dressed in quite a formal suit.
They're not 3 goblins that I recognise by any chance, are they?
No, they're not the 3 goblins. No, they're not the 3 goblins in the trench coat who you nearly married as part of your backstory, no.
Good.
Although, well, you know.
It's always awkward to run into your exes.
Absolutely.
Is the formally dressed person stylishly dressed or just formally dressed?
More formally dressed. She's got quite a nice suit on, and the lapels are all covered in kind of violently mismatching feathers, and seems to be talking to the goblins with some kind of level of authority. Is the party generally approaching and seeing what this is all about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Sure. So the person in the suit appears to be one of the hotel managers and is shouting at 5 goblins who have torn up the floor. And quite clearly is making the point that this floor is not for tearing up. The goblins, on the other hand, are we hanging around long enough to hear exactly what the discussion's about, or just trying to steer clear?
I'm hanging around, I
I'm
think.
going to hear their piece as
Yeah.
well, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, the goblins, for their part, claim that they have a right of way, and that the 3rd floor extension of their labyrinth was agreed upon with Urk the Hotelier, architect of the cave system the Blancmange Thistle was built on. They also claim to have the paperwork for this, which one of them is waving violently around in front of its face.
I'm
If
guessing
you
the
hold
hotel-
paperwork, then it's not our business, is it?
Is anyone
expect this
intervening,
for a long
or
standing-
just does this seem like hotel business?
I might look down the hole.
I may turn to the manager and go, "Excuse me, madam," and
She kind of wheels on you and says, "Yes, sir. I'm sorry. I'm having a rather spirited discussion here."
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. And I just thought I'd mention that I think it was downstairs. Oh, no, 2 floors below. The entire corridor has been flooded out, and it's not very welcoming to guests. Just so you know, you may want to send somebody down there with a mop.
Oh, my word. Was it the demonic spa?
Yes.
Oh, it's always either that or the Jin showers. Well, I will have someone remonstrate with the appropriate parties. Thank you for letting me know. I'm afraid I currently need to work out this issue. It's simply unacceptable. People could fall into this. She yells at the goblins, one of whom is obviously still waving.
I sort of peer down into a hole, and how deep do you say it is?
I believe also Oslab said he was going to do that, and it's a wretched little tunnel. Ultimately, that these goblins have made. You can see that there's a little pile of kind of shovels at the bottom that they use to scrape their way through. Oddly, it does appear to be an earthen tunnel and not, part of the hotel. But goblins are goblins, I guess.
Now, hold on. If they have the appropriate paperwork, then surely this must have gone through the Health and Safety Commission.
The goblin with said paperwork, which just seems to be an object they're waving very fast in their hands, yelps something in goblin to you, which definitely makes it clear that they are backing up this point of view.
So, if it has been approved, then what seems to be the issue?
The hotel manager kind of says, "Well, that's exactly what it is. I don't have approval for this, and frankly, I've never heard of this irk the hotelier." The goblins, a couple of the goblins behind the rest of the group of them are kind of fixing each other with a little glance.
Right, let me look at that paperwork. I'll snatch it off the goblin.
Okay, give me a skill roll against the goblin to see if you manage to snatch it off him. Yeah. Why don't you use your advanced skill of snatching?
I already failed one roll on that, so...
Oh, you did, didn't you?
Yeah.
Roll 2d6 and add what will be just your skill to that. I'm just checking goblin stats here, so I get this right. Although once more, my PDF just keeps on crashing, which is annoying. Goblins. Here we go. Okay. Oof. What'd you roll?
12.
Okay. Well then, you managed to snatch this thing off the goblin. It appears to be a rock with a crude charcoal pictogram of a smiling goblin on it.
This is not notarized.
The 5 goblins all kind of share a little furtive glance with each other, and then as one go and just dive back down the hole, and you can hear them kind of like scrabbling away at speed down their tunnel. The hotel manager leans her head down and says, I'll be talking to your supervisor.
I recommend you keep this on record. It's always good to have paperwork for when goblins go back on their word or present things that are not as they seem.
The hotel manager takes the rock with the pictogram off it and says, "Yes, thank you. A good spot on the notarization. I don't even think this is igneous either." Tucks it into the back of her suit and waves you all off.
I turn to the hotel manager and go, well, one moment.
Yes, sir.
Well, you must know this hotel very well. Yes. Yes. And we seem to be taking a rather long time to get to our room. Now, I know this is a very grand hotel, but it would be preferable if we could get there a little bit quicker. Just wondering if you know any shortcuts or any advice.
Absolutely, and I completely understand if you're not used to navigating it. It can be troublesome. Might I ask what floor you're on?
The 6th.
Absolutely. I'll be able to get you there as quick as you possibly can. Do you see the stairwell down the end of this corridor? If you proceed up there, and then along to the lift, and then up and along to the stairs, and just carry on in that way. I know some guests have had more trouble than that simple way would allow for. There are some people who wish to reach the 6th floor who never make it.
Well, I'm rather glad that we've had such an easy journey so far. I did hear mention of a party on the roof, which I'm rather keen to attend.
Yes, the Festival of the Chili Ark will be going on all day on the roof, and I strongly recommend that you attend, particularly since you are on the 6th floor, very close to it. I mean, when you're on the 6th floor, this is not close to it. Or the 6th floor.
Have you ever actually been to the 6th floor?
Oh yes, several times.
Congratulations.
May I just clarify? This is closer to the 6th floor than the entrance hall, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes. Numbers do proceed upwards in Troika.
Good. Just wanted to double check. I've experienced mixed results with numbers recently.
She nods, satisfied that she's attended all your questions, and wanders off into a doorway. So you have this next stairwell ahead of you. It looks much the same as the other stairwells. This time, the engraving is titled "The Re-Entry of the Starlight," and in it, a smooth orb descends from the sky as people flee the scene. It looks much as the other stairwell, only the other stairwell didn't have what appears to be an enormous slug wedged into the stairwell, with 4 slug-like heralds warding off some other guests, and a mandrill porter who's attend to the problem using towels. The slug is thrashing around, wailing at the top of its voice. It has a small crown perched on its head, and it seems to be currently experiencing some distress and be embarrassed. One of the heralds is yelling out that His Moist Magnificence, King Jupiter Lex Halffall IV, does not want anyone attending this, and in fact, people should steer clear altogether.
I will nod at the crown and then nod at Her Majesty.
Katrine, you are, it's safe to say, an individual who is somewhat desperate for the attachment that marriage would bring. This individual, even by your standards, marrying a slug.
But he's not 3 goblins in a trench coat.
I mean, that depends how you make that list and how you perform that ranking, but it's...
I mean, that's probably what the last 3 goblins in a trench coat told you as well, wasn't it? That they weren't,
well, so. Yeah. To their credit, I never directly asked.
Oh, that was your mistake.
Yeah. I'm going to weigh up the pros and cons, and then I'm going to gently grasp my crown, remove it, and hide it inside my robes.
Sure.
Now, Your Majesty, why did you take off your crown? Surely you wish to liaise with other monarchs.
Well, he seems to not want the attention right now, and perhaps another monarch seeing him in such distress would only undermine the divine rights of his Majesty. So I thought I would give him at least the semblance of privacy, I say, not making eye contact with anyone.
No, heralds, I cannot be seen in this state. The large slug is waving what passes for limbs around
Is
a
there
little
a
bit.
herald nearby?
There is. They're wearing like a tabard bearing the crest of the reigning Slug Royal family draped across their backs, and kind of moving towards you, sort of trying desperately to get you to back off so that their eminence's embarrassment cannot be seen.
Is the whole hall covered in like slime from his
Little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Every kind of thrash of a limb sends another bit splatting over something.
I think Lark-Noir might be stepping backwards.
I will say to the herald, oi, mate, what can we do to help His Majesty?
No help is required. Please leave the area on pain of death.
What kind of death?
There's already a few guests kind of lurking nearby, kind of peering at this spectacle, and clearly the herald has had enough of silly questions and from all the attention that their embarrassed monarch is drawing, and is going to draw kind of a odd, soft little floppy, slimy club and shouts, "This!" And the heralds basically all come for you, intent on causing you, if not harm, at least moderate moist discomfort. Chris, can you come on, because we're in combat?
Hello, everyone.
Oh.
Hello.
So there are, you know what? Let's have me and Chris top and center like that. Isn't that exciting? Ooh. Yeah, look at that. Can we get like a high five? Yeah.
Yeah. Like most high fives, you keep missing.
Yeah, bro. So what we'll need for this, Chris, is they're making no, they came to attack Lark-Noir, but they're making no discrimination. They're just trying to batter everyone away.
They are
so
slugs.
They are slugs, yes.
They must be quite slow.
Pretty slow, yeah. They're not great.
Yeah, right. Fair enough.
So we've got all six players in that initiative stack, please, Chris. And we have eight enemy entries and no henchmen.
The round is started. And the first player will be purple, which is meaningless until I check my little table.
Who's that, sorry?
Oslab. Sam.
Oslab, what are you going to do?
So are these heralds just like coming at us with clubs? Is that
like slightly floppy, moist clubs, but still.
I'm just gonna claw the nearest one that comes towards me.
It does seem outrageous that they should attack such a sweet child of the gods.
Exactly. I don't know what right this man thinks he has to try and moistly club me, but I'm not having it.
Stop using the word moist.
So, no problem. Give me a skill roll.
Okay.
Two. Did you say claw? So you're using your claws. So 2d6 plus your claw, and they got a 14.
I got a 12.
Okay. In that case, while they are somewhat slow, they seem oddly nimble, and it ducks beneath the swipe of one large cat's paw, and delivers a blow to you with its horribly wet, moist club that deals 3 stamina damage. So, who is next, Christopher?
Well, let's find out together. Any enemy.
Any enemy. I'm going to say that one is going to engage Lark here, because Lark was the one provoking them with such, horrible language as "can we help?" So in that case, Skye, could you roll 2d6 and add what? I don't think you have a weapon skill, do you? So just roll 2d6 and add your skill to it, unless you want to do something else.
I'd like to run away.
sorry, you don't. I think that's if you want to back off from it, that's
I'm
absolutely fine.
not fighting a big moist slug.
No, that's fine. It'll still be the same roll though, because it's action, if you get me.
Yeah.
So it's going to roll to hit you, and you can roll to. Have you got like a dodge or athletics or anything like that? I don't think.
I don't think so. No.
No, it'll just be with your skill then. So another 2d6 and add your skill.
Okay.
And it rolls pretty good again. It's rolled a 15.
I succeed.
Sorry. What? No. If
I
you're
got
if you're
three.
ro-
And I
if
got
no,
below
sorry.
my
If you're
skill.
rolling opposed, what you'll do is roll 2d6 and add your skill to it.
Okay. Right. Got it. So I got 9.
Okay, so yes, it manages to hit you, I'm afraid. And in doing so, it deals 3 stamina damage. Also, let's make this interesting. Let's just roll a d6 and tell me if you roll a 1.
Okay. Let me just. I'm just mathsing. I'm always slow with that. Right. 1d6.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
Okay, that's fine then. So, who's next, Chris?
Who is next? Is the answer to the opposite of the question that you just asked me. And it's John, the lonesome monarch, Her Majesty herself.
Okay.
I am slightly worried that attacking the Herald of the King Slug will cause a slight diplomatic incident. But on the...
But you're not wearing your crown at the minute.
That's true. And also, weirdly, no one in Troika has ever heard of Camarith. So... yeah, I'm going to try and poke the slug, and I can't believe I just said that sentence out loud.
It's all right. Why don't we have a mutual roll off for that? I literally cannot roll anything but 11. I've rolled 11 5 times in a row now. I think there's something wrong with these dice.
Well, I win because I get 15.
I'm not. I'm actually going to roll again because seriously, those dice are wonky. Okay. This time I've rolled a total of 14. I think
15.
Yeah. Okay. Give me that damage roll, please.
I rolled a 2, which is 6 damage.
Okay. Your longsword cleaves through the slug slowly and comes out with like a coating of slime on it. And the herald kind of like squidges backwards, going, "I am struck!" And yeah, it's not a mortal wound, but the slug seems pretty unhappy about it. Who's next, Chris?
Well. Allow me to roll the cards. It is any enemy.
Any enemy. Let's have someone attacking. Ooh, the queen. Well, that's appropriate, isn't it? Let's roll off again. Oh, a fumble. So it's rolled an 8. It's rolled an 8.
I roll 18.
Ooh, okay. Why don't you give me a damage roll and add 1 to your roll?
Okay. I'm actually going to roll this one. So I only roll 2, which is the 3, which is 8 damage.
Okay. I'm going to say this is a different slug to the one that attacked you because that, as I said, that was reeling backwards in despair at their being struck. This one coming towards you is kind of flailing at you with that odd, soft, horrible club, and you kind of take a step backwards in, your well-trained, posed fashion, swing mightily with your longsword, and a slug limb goes like rotating over the room, hits the wall of the stairwell, and just kind of slowly guides down. The slug reels back and says, "I too am struck." Who's next, Chris?
Who is next? Once again, it is any enemy.
Any enemy. Well, let's have one of the 2 remaining slugs striking at Lark Lenoir again. So give me another. Are you trying to dodge this again, or are you trying to fight back against them? Is your dander up, Lark?
Dander?
Dander? No, that's not right. Is your No, it is, isn't it?
Dander is the right phrase.
Yeah, you're dander up, like you're angry, you know.
Oh, right.
In a kind of old school gentlemanly way. My dander is up, sir.
Yes, I could see that being the case.
Yeah.
You've been slimed a bit.
I know, except
Like Nickelodeon.
Lark is somewhat worried that if he engages in combat, he'll only get slimed more.
It's a possibility.
Lark is a bit of a pacifist, to be honest, so no.
Fair enough. No, that's
Lark is
fine.
going to keep running away.
That's fine. Just keep trying to dodge it. Well, it rolls a 13 in total. So if you give me 2d6 plus your skill.
I got exactly the same.
So you got 13 as well.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. In that case, what happens usually, I believe, is you test your luck if you want to win a tie. But you know what? I'm not entirely sure how ties work in this over much. And I'm going to say that defender wins in this case, and we'll just run with that for the rest of the thing. So you know what? I'd say normally you need to test your luck if you want to like attack it over defender wins or something. But you know what? With you trying to dodge it, I'm just saying you're kind of like nimbly stepping backwards while this thing is trying to get at you with the thing. And you manage to escape it. Yeah, you manage to escape it for the moment. I think that's a fair shout. Chris, what's next?
Well. Next is the gold player, which is Lenore.
There we go.
Okay. Lenoir has an idea
Sure.
and would like to get his lantern and oil out of his bag.
Sure.
Does that take a turn?
Turns in Troika are fairly vague things. Why don't you say what you want to do, and I'll tell you how long, whether you can do it in this turn.
Well, I know that slugs aren't particularly fond of heat.
It's true.
I was going to light the lantern in an attempt to creatively.
Yeah. Sort of. Yeah.
Get
try
away
and get
from
back.
me.
Yeah, absolutely. Why don't you? Absolutely, I think we could do that. Why don't you give me a? Well, I think you can safely add as a new advanced skill on your sheet. Add lantern brandishing, and
Okay.
give us a roll against your skill to see if you succeed with that.
I really hope I do. Wait, let's have a look. No, I don't make it.
What a shame.
Shame.
So, I mean, it was worth a try. The slugs mainly look confused, it has to be said. So, Chris, what have we got up next?
Well. Any enemy.
Any enemy. And it's an enemy striking at Carrick because he hasn't had enough already. So let's. Are you fighting back, Carrick?
I guess so. Yes, I'll say we're only trying to get upstairs. But yeah, I'll be attempting to
Sure.
at least defend myself.
Yeah. Well, they roll a 14.
Oof. Okay. Well. Oh, that's not too bad. Again, maths. I roll a 15. I
There we
believe.
go. Are you using your club or your knife? And give me a damage roll.
I'm using my club.
Sure.
So damage roll would be 6 damage.
6 damage. Is that the top? Oh, no, it's just a 5 on your
It was
club,
a
yes.
roll of a 5, yeah. So, but 6 damage.
you, as you're proclaiming that you don't want this fight, you dance slightly around this slug and thwack it over the head. Give it a good monkey tap with your club. You're not entirely used to how slugs might react to a swift strike on top of the head, though, and the slug is left with a kind of like squashed in divot in the top of its head, and it reels away, flapping at its head. Saying, "Struck also the tragedy." What we got next, Chris?
Well, the honeydew player. That will be Mariset.
Mariset. I mean, you are also a man of peace.
Ish.
He's through now.
I think I'll flick my knife out and stab a slug.
Stab a slug.
Yeah, I think,
Well, they rolled a grand total of 11, so you're in with a pretty good chance, I think.
You'd think. So let's just add my knife fight into it, which is just a 1. So that's a 10.
Knife fighting is a 1. Shouldn't it be a 7?
Oh, do I add the whole 7?
Oh, yeah. That's your skill level.
Oh, in that case, it's like a 16 then.
Being very coy.
Yeah. When you're rolling this and you're adding like a skill level, like the 1 is just the amount on top of your skill that you have, but you take the total and then add it to the roll. So.
Oh yeah, this is slug bits then. So yeah, I picture his knife's been hidden, and like Sheev Palpatine, when he was attacked by the traitorous Jedi.
I don't understand this reference. It's from a movie. I maybe I blocked it out. I don't know.
He flicks the knife out as the Senate would flick their lightsaber out, and does it like that. So roll a damage. So if I rolled a 4 on a d6 for my damage, what do I add? Do I add anything to that, or is it just...
No, you just look at what that matches on your weapon chart. If you see what I mean. So for your knife should have a thing that the damage that it does on a 4 should be on your
a 2
thing.
Do I add anything to the d6 to that?
No.
There is a 7 plus. I don't know whether...
There is, but that's mainly when you get mighty blows when you roll a double 6.
Oh,
but
okay.
Other things can also affect it. The slug you're fighting, it saw you as easy slug prey. But now that you've managed to get out this knife, surprisingly slash it a bit, it kind of slugs backwards a little bit and cries, "Struck slightly!"
You started using slug as a verb.
Yeah, I was going to point that out just as a general rules call. Slug is a noun, not a verb.
With them all, it's fairly clear that these slugs can't really handle the concept of being hit in battle, which is probably a problem for guards of the king. And they start to slug away.
Sluggishly,
leaving their monarch abandoned, who is crying out in distress at this. "You cowards! How dare you abandon your king!" The slugs have made their way away and are kind of, what would you say with a slug?
Oozed.
Yeah, they've oozed off into rooms, into one specific room which they've slammed the door of, and now you can hear from the other side. It sounds like they're barricading it.
So have they just left the king there?
Yeah.
Can we get by him, or is he just fully in the way still?
He's pretty fully in the way, unless you can figure out a way back. You could definitely try and climb over him, which you probably won't enjoy. But otherwise, yeah, unless you can think of a way to get him free, then
Anyone got any salt?
Oh,
we've got penny salts.
I mean,
yes,
someone does have salt. Yes,
that was my plan in the battle, but it never came to that. I do have salt. I feel a little mean since he's just stuck, though. Maybe if we just threaten him with the salt, he'll.
Why don't we just
move
talk
because...
to him and ask him why he's stuck?
He seems to be stuck in the door, doesn't he?
He's stuck kind of up the stairwell. He's tried to go up the spiral staircase, and he's simply too massive to be able to do that capably, I'm afraid.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to come back down the stairwell?
I'll walk forward and wave my cane at the king slug and go, Your Majesty, Your Majesty.
Don't look at
Why
me!
did you try to go up the stairs?
What a foolish question! Because I wanted to get to the roof!
Have you always been this massive?
How dare you!
Well, just answer the question, because otherwise my compatriots, and I have no control over them, mind you, have been talking of salt.
Ah!
Does that make him move at all?
No! He's stuck!
Oh my god.
Can you come back down the stairs rather than trying to go up the stairs?
Can I just say I love, and this is GM lead. This absolutely is GM leading. I love that Sam thought to use diminish when trying to snatch a key off someone, but would rather use salt on a slug.
He's a monster.
He's being really annoying.
Sure.
If he was being more helpful, maybe I'd use a spell.
Can I just fly up to the top of the stairs?
I believe you have a flight skill.
I do.
So if you want to try that, why don't you employ that for us?
I think it says you only really roll it when you're, trying something difficult. But that may...
I think this is difficult. It's an enclosed space with a big old slug king in it.
Very fair. I make it.
Yep. Oslav leaves his feet and flaps his way up to the next landing, which leaves everyone kind of staggering back a bit with the force of his wings. And you crash. Not crash badly, but with a crash, you land at the top of the landing. The slug monarch is kind of trying to look over his shoulders at you and not quite being able to do so, and going,
I will wave my cane at the king again and go, Your Majesty, you must be quite wealthy.
Highway robbery!
It's the salt. Or you give my friend Krungle here an incentive to help you.
I have riches.
Krungle, how do you feel about this?
Where are the riches anyway?
He says, Where are the riches?
In my castle. Where would you keep your riches?
Do you have any on
that
you?
does check out. That is where we keep our riches. I mean, that is where I would expect a king or queen to be holding their riches.
A fellow monarch, help me!
All right, Krungle, do that annoying thing, but usefully.
Fine.
Jingle spells.
Sure. Spend that stamina and roll for diminish, please.
I succeed.
Okay.
He's half dies for 3 minutes.
Sure. The slug monarch shrinks down oddly as if salted, and tumbles down the stairwell with a wet splat on the bottom, and just kind of starts squelching off towards the room the heralds retreated to. Kind of, oh, look at me!
Not so much as a thank you. Very politely, monarch.
I politely avert my gaze and also try and...
I stare at him the whole way.
Wow.
Clark just looks at him and goes, How uncooperative.
Just as a note,
No
I think
sense of diplomacy.
someone's definitely got some fuzz going on in the background, so maybe just cycle your mute on and off. We might be able to tell who it is. It's Steve.
It's Steve.
Definitely Steve.
I think your mic has suddenly just doubled in volume or something for no reason.
Did that very briefly earlier as well.
Yeah,
It's good now. It's good now. It just takes mute on and off, sorted it. It's all good. It's all good. So you proceed onwards up the stairwell and onto the next floor. This floor has a plaque on it that says 3rd floor 2, Roman numerals. It's mostly empty, and leads to a lift at the far end, of course. Apart from ahead of you, there is what appears to be a naked gentleman who's kind of all the colors of the rainbow, kind of a swirling, hypnotic mass of multicolors all over his form. And he's rattling the door of a hotel room and going, and looks really put out of sorts at being perhaps locked out of his room naked.
I'm going to walk past.
Sure.
Everyone just walk by like that.
Replacing my crown, of course.
As everyone's walked past, he's kind of attempting to basically play it cool a little bit, like, and just desperately trying to get it. Is everyone just... Everyone's at it with people and their issues in the corridors of this place. Is everyone just proceeding onwards?
I pick out a pair of suitably sized underwear from my cloak. I rolled my luck.
Did you roll the luck?
Yeah, I rolled my luck.
Fantastic.
Nice.
Don't forget to knock it down by 1 again.
I just happened to.
He goes, "Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. I'm most grateful." Oh, no.
I love this world. Prongle just nods politely.
I thought I was going to starve.
I'm
So onto the
hurrying
lift.
on.
Onto the lift.
I nod to the mandrill. Evening.
And for
Again.
anyone, and I know someone in our chat as well. And for anyone's aware, I don't have a precise ETA for the end of this. We aim to end them by 8. But having said that, if we go a wee bit over, we'll probably go a wee bit over because we want to finish the story right. But if anyone has issues with that, let us know. I mean, not viewers. I don't care if you have an issue. So you reach the lift. As you're coming up to the lift, you can see that the doors are already open, and another passenger in the lift is already heading into it. It is a scrawny woman in a thick leather apron, and she is pushing 3 tigers in.
Should we wait for the next one?
That it seems like a good idea.
Are the tigers like chained or anything, or are they just?
No. They're just being put into the lift. The mandrill kind of looks over as Lark says, "Shall we wait for the next one?" The mandrill looks over, rolls its eyes, and sort of mildly mimes a belly laugh.
Why would we wait? They're taking long enough already.
What's the mood of the tigers?
Roll on the tiger table.
Pretty calm. Pretty calm. They look sort of resigned.
I'm gonna follow Oslab onto the lift and then stay with Oslab between me and the tigers.
Sure.
I think I will do similar.
I will crowd in and do exactly the same thing. We're all crushed on one side of Osla.
Sure. I think that's fair. So is everyone kind of cramming in this lift behind on the other side of Oslab?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
I'll give a curious look to the strange positioning of my companions.
So you all kind of cram into the lift together, and like Oslab kind of in the middle and the tigers on the inside. At least one of the tigers is kind of draped around the back of Oslab and like over the end, almost like stood up, just kind of almost glumly looking around. The other two tigers on the other side with the mandrill and the woman in the leather apron. The lift doors judder to a close and it starts up. There's just kind of a general silence with the occasional kind of from a tiger. Oslab, as you're head, presumably in quite a unpleasant position for you. You're kind of looking around in general discomfort, and as you do so, you see kind of some slight just movement down below you. And when you glance down, you can see that the mandrill in the red suit is just kind of looking up at you and kind of trying to get your gaze, get your attention a little bit.
I will look down at him and just stare.
The mandrill kind of locks eyes with you and slowly and quite kind of calmly reaches up, grabs the tail of one of the tigers and just starts going. Not breaking a gaze with you, just kind of.
I will.
The tiger is making kind of noises
Can I fumble in my pocket?
Oh,
and
you
pull
can't
out-
see this.
Right,
You guys are barricaded behind Oslab.
Oslab is large.
I'm just gonna try and kind of kick this mandrill out from under me, out from by my legs.
God, don't
Sure.
bumble.
Sure. let's have a roll off on that.
Don't squash the mandrill.
Give yourself an ape kicking advanced skill, and give yourself a roll again, unless you have a skill you think is relevant.
Fighting.
Actually, no. You can take hoof fighting. That's absolutely fine. I think roll against that, and I'll roll for the mandrill. And the mandrill definitely does have some stats. I haven't got them immediately here, but I'll just have a quick look. It'll be fairly early on in the thing. Yeah, there we go.
14.
Well, the mandrill got 12. So you clock the mandrill with your hoof and kind of knock it aside, and it loses its grip on the tail of the tiger and just kind of looks up at you, screws up its face in a kind of mild form of hatred, you'd guess, and just leans against the wall of the lift, or the framework of the lift, quite sulkily, and just stabs the controls every now and again. The rest of the journey up between floors goes without incident, and the doors open at the other end, and another tiger trainer is outside, kind of herds the tigers off the lift and out into a hotel room, kind of like listlessly guiding them with a little chair that he kind of, like a tiger taming chair that he pokes them a bit with, but the tigers are quite docile and placid and just kind of glumly walk out. The mandrill.
Look at the tigers and look at my monkeys and sort of.
Do you want to try and trade them? The mandrill is gazing at Oslab with a great deal of dislike as you all exit this lift now.
I'll kind of stamp my hooves close to him. Bit of an intimidation, if possible.
Sure.
There's no way we'll be seeing him again. That's fine.
No, I mean, why would you? You're now on a floor that has a plaque on it that says 4th floor. We're getting there. Ahead of you in this corridor, it's a relatively normal corridor, other than ahead of you is an individual who's standing there, and your eyes kind of can't quite focus on them. They seem to be made up of a number of sort of odd angles, and you're generally having trouble. I mean, most of you have met odd individuals even today, let alone on your travels through the spheres. But yeah, there's definitely something odd about them. I assume we're moving forward down the corridor.
Yeah.
Correct.
Are they in the middle of the corridor?
Yeah, just kind of stood about halfway down in the middle.
I might try using second sight on them, just because I feel like they're standing in the middle of the corridor doing nothing. It's kind of
sure. I think that's fine. Give me a second sight roll then, please. So 2d6 and try and get equal or under your second sight.
Mm-hmm.
Could I also try that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead. You have second sight for the rest of the session.
I do.
Might as well use it.
Yep. I succeed.
So do I.
Yes, this is definitely a trans-dimensional being of some considerable potency and power.
I'll turn to everyone and go, well, what are we waiting for? Go on then. Gesture with my cane frantically.
Oslab will just walk forward past this man, if possible.
As you walk forward, Oslab in the lead, perhaps desperate, obviously, to see the mandrill again. You walk forward, and as you do so, the individual turns and faces you, and your eyes seem to spin in your sockets as you attempt to comprehend what you see. This individual is composed of many angles, some acute, some obtuse, some entirely objectionable. Thousands of eyes spin among the angles of every color imaginable and hypnotically rotating in an endless golden void. A soft voice reaches out to you from deep within the indescribable beauty and horror and says in a tone of terrifying clarity, "My children, I am sorry to impose upon you on your travels in this realm of confusion and mortal danger, but I was wondering, have any of you ever wanted to be your own boss?"
I am my own boss, and everyone else's. No, thank you.
Is anyone else giving any kind of response?
A pyramid scheme. From a pyramid being, I assume.
I mean, it sounds beguiling.
I'm glad you think so, my child. I have in my possession a near infinite number of skybound crystal spheres that I would be glad to dispose of you for a minimum amount, and that you can then sell onwards for tremendous profit. My cut would merely be modest.
Carrot?
Yes.
Oh wait, is it Carrot who is considering this?
It is indeed Carrot
I
who
just
seems
want
to
to
be
make sure.
considering it.
Carrot, I've heard of things like this.
Have
you?
you?
May not want to get involved.
Is there a catch? What's the?
I think it's safe to say that Carrick is the only one who seems to be immediately struck by this being's pitch, and therefore, could you test your luck for me, please?
Okay. Now then, I have to roll under.
Correct, equal
My
to
luck,
or under to your luck.
Or under. That's fine. I do. My luck is 11. Believe it or not.
You
you
luckily choose to believe your new companion's conviction that this is not something you should become engaged with. Is anyone else in any way engaging with this being? Obviously, it's quite difficult to walk past it without looking at it because it's a being of truly cosmic awe. But is anyone else going to engage with the obvious pyramid scheme sales pitch?
I'll just.
Lark's going to close his eyes and walk past.
I'm not really going to look very hard, but I might give it a little poke. See what happens.
Lark might speed up.
I mean, I'm not sure there's anything particularly physical there to poke, and your arm would presumably sink into an endless golden void. The being looks somewhat affronted by this and says, "My child, you merely had to say you weren't interested."
Oh, no offense. I was just curious. Apologies. And I walk on.
Sure. So we walk on to get to the next stairwell. And I think we're due another break now here. So what we'll do, we'll go away for another 10 minutes, folks. Please do stay with us. We'd be delighted to have you here for the end, because we'll end before we need another break. Hopefully we'll end before 8 o'clock. So yeah, we'll take a 10-minute break now, and then we'll see you again soon for further adventures in the Blancmange Thistle.